Matt Liniger is the CEO of the National Farmers Federation, and he joins me now from our Canberra Parliament House studio. Matt Liniger, Coles says the price cuts won't hurt its suppliers. Do you believe them?
Well, I think what we're looking for is some evidence of that. If they say it's not going to affect farm gate prices and lower prices for consumers, then that's fantastic. But we think, firstly, that's a very short-term way of thinking, and we firmly believe that in the longer term they won't be able to sustain these prices and be able to maintain farm gate prices at the same time.
Well, many farmers have had bumper crops this season, so perhaps if cutting prices encourages people to buy more fruit and vegetables, wouldn't that actually help farmers offload a lot of their produce?
Yeah, as I said, if this is a short-term response to a spike in supply, being able to drive more consumer demand, then that's fantastic. That will work in the short term. But we are saying this on the same day the UN has brought out a report clearly showing that the challenge globally to meet food demand is getting harder, not easier. So you would have to think that in the longer term these sorts of strategies will not work, and we need to think right across the board about how we're going to encourage continual food production in this country to get on our supermarket shelves, grown by Aussie farmers. That includes investment in R&D and a whole range of other matters. So that is thinking longer term. I think what we're seeing from Coles today may work in the short term, but the proof will be in the pudding. Let's see what happens to farm gate prices.
Do you have any sense that these price cuts might actually force some growers out?
Look, I think it's too early to tell that. As we said before, we need to see the evidence of this. So this is being put in place. They're saying it's not going to hurt farm gate prices, so presumably that won't have an effect on farmers. But we need to see the evidence before us.
The Chief Executive of the Sydney Market said today that it supplies about a third of the fruit and veggies in Australia, and it says once again that there is a massive oversupply. If these cheaper prices have been enabled by the fact that there is an oversupply, does that not indicate that farmers perhaps need to look at production so that something like this doesn't happen?
No, look, I think what we're seeing is a natural response to a whole range of factors, including climate and rainfall. So, you know, obviously when there's the resources available, people are producing. Let's not forget we've had 10 years of drought up until the last couple of years in many parts of the country. So people are coming out of drought, they're trying to balance the books after that event. So, as I said before, if this is a response to a short-term cyclic issue, like an oversupply or an abundance of supply at this time, and that leads to increased consumption across the board, then that can be seen as a positive thing. But we don't think it's a long-term strategy or a long-term strategy that will work. And what we want to see is that farm gate prices can be maintained so that you know, we've got farmers there continuing to produce the fresh food that hits our tables every day.
A final question. The milk price wars, of course, sparked a Productivity Commission inquiry, which actually found that there were no adverse effects on the dairy industry. Would you like to see a Productivity Commission inquiry into the fruit and veggie price wars that we're about to see?
Well, look, I think what we need to see, you know, we've got milk on the one hand, dairy on the fruit and vegetables on the other, and a whole range of other products that Australian farmers produce. What we'd like to see is that the power that's exerted by the supermarkets, you know, doesn't lead to adverse outcomes for our sector. So, you know, if that requires further oversight, an ombudsman, whatever it happens to be, to ensure that we're on a level playing field here, then, you know, we'll obviously look at those options.
All right, Matt Liniger, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.